All right. I don't want that one. I want this one. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Having a good time? It's Saturday. I didn't do a show yesterday. Ended up working late and just got home late. So doing one today, but it's okay. We did a Thursday. We did a special Thursday show anyway. So you guys already got your 3 in this week, but we'll do a 4th because why not? It's Saturday. Delicious things seem to be happening. What's been coming up past couple of days, and I guess Timmy Donahue's been working on this and posted about it back in November, but now it's starting to pick up traction. So Finra, with regards to MMTLP NextBridge, says that they can't get an accurate share count of how many shares have been traded out there because they don't have jurisdiction in foreign countries to go, hey, foreign country brokerages, give us some information. And it turns out that Finra caused that to happen. So there's an exchange known as MIAX, the Miami Pearl Exchange, and they do trades for Apex. So if you're in a brokerage like Robinhood or Schwab or Webull or whatever, Moomoo, you're probably getting trades for Apex. Apex is the payment for order flow gods. They go to the market makers. Hey, market makers, we're going to do some bids. And you're going to get some arbitrage, and you're going to trade the stocks for us, and then we'll go through clearing and blah blah blah. Well, Apex, through a deal with Finra, because Apex went to Finra and said, "Hey, there's this exchange known as Miami Exchange. Can we use them to trade some of our stocks?" And Finra's like, "Hell yeah, brother, do it." So the Miami Exchange is a broker-dealer privately owned by Citadel, Wolverine Holdings, Susquehanna, and Strategic Investments Incorporated, which is a Morgan Stanley affiliate. Private company, no stock doesn't trade. They are not members of Finra. So Finra gave the go-ahead like, yeah, trade your stocks on this thing. They are not members of Finra. And what they do is they take the stocks, they trade them in the Bahamas, Poland, wherever, overseas, where Finra has no idea what's going on, and then clear it all with Apex later. So all the stocks that appear to be going offshore that Finra can't keep an eye on is because Finra let Citadel and their friends create this exchange specifically to host stocks offshore so that Finra can't see what they're doing. This is I put a link in the description, but where are you? Here we go. Timmy has a host of stuff that have popped up recently, and he's been trying to get it more organized because it's just kind of scattered replies to people. So if you go to his Twitter, see what he has to write. It's pretty damning, like like the agreements that Finra, Apex, and MIAX had, and it seems to be that Finra created this mess. And we know from the 2018 Retail Investors Summit that Finra held that Finra discusses with market makers ahead of time whether they're going to halt the stock or not, even though they told Congress that they didn't discuss it with anyone. But their standard operating procedure is, yeah, we talk to the market makers and we go, oh, we're probably going to halt this thing. And market makers give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So the market makers, right here, Citadel Securities, LLC, 5% or greater holder of the company, Miami International Holdings, MIAX Pearl, seem to be front-loading all those foreign trades of the shorts that we cannot find because Finra doesn't have any jurisdiction over that. But Finra granted them the permission to do that, despite the fact they're not members. So, this one. So, there you go. Turn that off, man. Punch a tree. Could payout come from the fraud and oil both? I think it depends on what they negotiate. Let's say, because right now they're NextBridge was just at NAPE, the big oil petroleum energy thing. National Association of Petroleum and Energy, whatever association, I don't know, in Houston. And they had a big booth, and they're basically explaining like, hey, if you invest, 20 million to do this well, lease cost 50 million to do this well. If you invest in these 5 wells with us, you will net between 1.3 billion and $2 billion profit in 10 years. So that's just like 5 wells. You help us drill these 5 wells. You personally will get between 1.3 and $5 billion for your basically $100 million investment. There are 3,000 potential well sites on the property. So there's a lot of money to be made. Like, on the upper end, it's like $1 trillion. So yeah, there's money to be had from the oil on that. Now, the fraud payout, and oh my God, is my internet dying again? One sec. Let me tell my roommates, like, hey, I am doing a show. Sigh. Doing a show for the next 2 hours. All right. Okay, hopefully that works. So yeah, there's oil to be made there's money to be made on the oil side. Oil to be made on the money side. The fraud side, that one is going to be interesting as well, because it appears as though if there's going to be an investigation into this, that Rico charges will be coming, because it seems very much like Finra probably has communication with these market makers and hedge funds prior to the halt. And if they lied about that to Congress, they're going to face obstruction charges, lying to Congress, perjury, plus probably Rico charges for not regulating, but in fact, like working with these bad actors who were basically doing illegal things and trying to hide their legal action on let's see. Okay. So yeah, that's where I think it is. So if they negotiate, it's like, hey, we'll back off of Congress if perhaps you pay. Then we could, maybe they won't be buying our shares, but maybe they'll be giving us a pile of money that results in a special payout that then also results in a whole bunch of PILs that the shorts then have to pay out for those shares as well. So like, hey, the shorts can exist as long as they pay me a pile of money. I'm cool with that. Works for me. And then later we can squeeze them when the stocks trade again. We'll do it all over again. That works too. So yes, both. Oh, the chalupa is here, and we got a special thing that Alexander K made for us. You ready? Twink. Run away? What the hell? I did the intro and he just ran off. Well, I guess that gives us an opportunity to do the intro again later. So, no trip to Batman. That was a false alarm. False alarm to open up our new Chalupa Batman intro. Brandon Miller. Thank you, Houston, for all you do. Now start talking about the aliens that have always been here, seriously. They walk amongst us. They are us. They might be your significant other. Maybe one of your parents. Who knows? It's going to be like V. You have to like rip their face off to reveal the lizard person underneath. Anyone ever watch the original V miniseries? I think it was on ABC back in the 80s. It like stuck in my brain. Like watch every week, someone new got their face ripped off. I was like, no way. Oh, now he's back again. Okay, let's try that again. Here we go. All right. Scratching your ears. It's so loud. Okay. Yeah. So, Chupa's here. Come on. Get up here, fatty. Come on. Boom. Batman. Okay. Oh, I got to turn off Chupa Batman intro before I play that a third time. There we go. Okay. Man, the lizard people are everywhere. The newer version of V, I don't think they concluded it. I watched like part of a season of it. My neighbor starred in it. Elizabeth Mitchell. She's a great lady. Super nice. filmed up in Canada, but I don't think it got quite the traction we wanted it to have. But I read the book also. There's a book that came out that's actually pretty decent, based on the original miniseries. Okay. What else are we going to talk about? Bruno did some work. I should have put a link to his tweet as well. He did some work showing that the 2024 bonds that the dip financer bonds from 6th Street are set to mature on May 1st, 2024. And that they only get paid out if the 2024 unsecured bonds are still trading. And they are. So he's speculating some interesting things are going to happen between the hearing next week and May 1st regarding the dip financer, who we believe is part of Ryan Cohen. I'm thinking it's Ryan Cohen put in his money and then IEP perhaps matched, and that's why it was twice as much. And then they just used 6th Street as a proxy and all that. So we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out eventually about all this stuff. Just keep doing this. A reminder: Wednesday I'm going to have Rosa on, which will be interesting because that court hearing is for that day. So we'll probably have Rosa on, talk MMTLP next bridge stuff out for an hour or however long she can, and then we'll talk about whatever the outcome from that hearing is. And part of me believes that the outcome from the hearing is, well, we pushed off most of this to March 17th or whatever, and we'll wait another for it to happen. Sujo, BBYQ updates. Well, you just got it. You sent that while I was talking about BBYQ updates. Stephanie L. So who is Finra exactly? Like, if there's a Rico charge and convictions, who is going to prison? My guess is whoever's in charge, right? Like, if you're the CEO in charge of Finra and you are rubber stamping things like the Miami International Exchange to run naked shorts through offshore accounts so that Finra can't look at it, then perhaps you are in trouble for that. And maybe whoever underling negotiated it, whoever was doing the talking and the negotiating with Citadel, etc., for doing that. Those are the folks. And the thing about Rico investigation is that anyone involved can be charged. So let's say you are the assistant to the executive assistant for the CEO of Finra, right? Your job is the person gets told to do things, you then now get told to do things for that person. If a RICO charge is going, if you did work on behalf of the CEO or the executive assistant to facilitate any of this, you can be charged with felony racketeering, which means they will put the screws to you and send you to jail for 10 years, unless you turn state's evidence and tell the fine prosecutor what it was you were told to do and who was talking to whom and what the schedules were and where the emails are, blah, 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 blah. This is what they're doing in Georgia. The RICO charges in Georgia, they charged what? Like, someone pointed out you're jingly whenever you scratch yourself, and now it's all I can hear. Rabies tags, man. Okay. So there's like 20 co-conspirators who were indicted and like 31 unindicted co-conspirators, probably because all those people turned state's evidence. And a bunch of people who were indicted have now turned state's evidence against Donald Trump. So there's that going on. That's basically how you do it, is that RICO, if you are part of the organization, you can be charged with it if you knowingly did something that was illegal. So yeah, that's probably who will get it, is everyone, unless they all turn state's evidence. And believe me, an organization like Finra, where they're like almost government bureaucrats, but they're not government bureaucrats. They're doing the same thing where they want a job outside of Finra to work for a Citadel or a Goldman Sachs or something. If they have a charge like this against them, they will never be allowed to work in the financial industry. So you're going to turn state's evidence. You're be like, yep, I'm going to sell all these assholes out. I'm done. Because there won't be a Citadel after something like this goes down. It won't exist. So yeah, so why not sell them up the river? Or down the river? Which river? Which is it, down the river or up the river? They don't know. Yeah. So think about that. Anthony Cordell, happy birthday, Houston. I'm number 2. I think you're number 1. I see you as number 1. I've been watching for over a year now. Really enjoy your program. Thank you. Got in contact with Charles Schwab yesterday to get some of my shares in the AST, that's MMTLP, split them up so I have half in there and half in AST. That way, no matter what happens, I'll be on both sides of the fence, and we'll see which one works best. 12.30 on each side. Seems like a good play. I know other people have done that. Of course, they have to mail them to me, and I'm going to AST, so I don't know how long that will take for them to get here. I think my brother is in E-Trade, and when he went to register his, E-Trade sent him the physical ones, and then he called AST, and they were registered with AST. So AST has him as their owner. It's just he's in custody. And you can, I guess, have them be in custody. You don't have to worry about, like, you know, your house burning down or whatever, and then losing all your certificates. But yeah, you can do that, I believe. One ball, Houston. So I hear you say if we have shares in Fidelity, we can get them over to AST. I have heard mixed reports. I posted about yesterday in the subreddit, like how to register and register in Fidelity, like how I did it. And some folks were like, won't let me. Other folks said, I can do it, but I have to pay $150, not $100. So I'm getting mixed results from folks. Some are being told they can't do it. Some are being told they can. I think it depends on who answers the phone, I guess. I don't know. It's very weird. And Anthony Cordell says, just to let everybody know, it was $80 to get your certificates from MTLP for AST. That's through Schwab. So Schwab charges $80. Webull charges $235. Fidelity charges between $100 and $150, depending on who you're talking to. Except they never. I had to put the $100 in my account and clear it before they would do it, and then they transferred it and never took the $100. So I just bought 700 BBBY shares with that $100 because why not? Is it Factory's here? Kevin Randon's here. Happy birthday, son. Another day in the trees and the fluffy stuff. Are you excited for court on Valentine's Day? No dates, but I think more will be revealed. Thank you. I'm jealous of your tree skiing. We have nothing going on up here. We had some good snow a couple weeks ago. Then a Pineapple Express came through. It was 60 degrees down here, just pissing rain up in the mountains. Our snowpack is garbage. And then California is like setting records right now. That's a bummer. I am excited for the court date. If we don't see that everything is pushed off, it'd be really nice. If it is pushed off, I will think it's entirely due to the pump and dump case not being resolved. So, resolve pump and dump case. Just resolve already. Cohen and Todd just, I don't know. They need to like go bowling and trip and fall and hit their head, not remember anything or something. Stonebreaker. I contacted E-Trade to move my shares to AST, and they said I could not. I can leave my shares with them, or I can get paper cert. Okay, so they want that's I think what they did with my brother is that they sent him the paper ones, but when he called AST, they're like registered with AST. I personally am happy with AST having my name on some certificates in a filing cabinet somewhere. Works for me. I don't want the responsibility of having them. So I guess you can probably send them to AST. This Fidelity happens to be able to do it. Like, call them and be like, well, Fidelity will send it to AST for me. Why can't you? Should I transfer my shares to Fidelity and then transfer them to AST? I don't know. Maybe you can do that. Make them think they're gonna lose your business. Jason Blackwell. Houston, you're an American before and after you walk up to a urinal. What are you when you're standing in front of the urinal? European. That's an old one. That one's so old. It's got a gray bush. JSJ, good day from down under. Welcome. Kelly Reed. Canada economy added 37,000 jobs in January as unemployment fell to 5.7%. However, the increase in jobs was part-time. Full-time jobs fell 11,600. Only minimum wage jobs are being created, while high-paying jobs are declining. This is not good news. Companies lay off employees. The backbone of keeping the company operational being let go is not a bright idea. But hey, got to keep the shareholders happy. That's happening. I read a thing yesterday about how something like 44% of all American jobs are minimum wage with no benefits, which is the highest it's ever been. So if you have a job in America, there's a greater than 2 in 5 chance that you are minimum wage, no benefits, and that seems to be what's going forward. I mean, Google laid off something like 20,000 employees and then did a stock buyback, which would have fully funded those employees' salaries for the next 30 years. Like, the enshittification is happening. There's a great article someone posted to the subreddit that was in Financial Times. Probably the best article I've ever read in Financial Times, talking about the enshittification of everything. And it's a long read, but it is a very, very, very... I'm going to put a link to it right now because it is a phenomenal read. Let me just find... Oh, that's not that one. Not that one either. This one. Okay, click there. Go to the Houston Wade community. Close that. Open up, open up, open up, open up. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Mutant Wolves footage. Should be taking bets. Finra. Exam leak. Where's the enshittification one? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Bam. So this is the Internet Archive version. We go Chrome. Nope, Chrome. Turn off Mozilla. There we go. There we go. All right. Financial Times. The enshittification is coming for absolutely everything. By Cory Doctorow. I'll put the link for that Internet Archive article, so it's free for everybody to read. It is brilliant. It talks about the 4 reasons why things go. Oh, you still can't see because the Chrome is still. Dang it! Why are there 2 Mozillas? What the hell? Chrome. Oh, that's weird. Where? What the hell? Why can't I? Can I do that? Nope, that's not anything. Ah, found it. There it is. Oh, okay. So, the enshittification is coming for absolutely everything. It talks about the 4 reasons why. One of them is CEOs are psychopaths and they just want to cut things and do that shit anyway. 2, lack of regulation. So regulators are not fighting against antitrust, not fighting antitrust, and they're allowing mergers to happen and monopolies to form. 3, workers no longer have the power. So before, tech workers, if they worked really hard on making a really good product, and then some higher up was like, you know what, I need to make that product shittier. The employee would be like, I'm out. I'm getting out of here. And they don't have that power anymore. And what was the 4th reason? 4th reason was, I have them listed down here. Number 1, uses constraints eroded. So we got pre-enshittification. We have self-help. Oh, privacy violations. There we go. Yeah, privacy violations are allowed to go rampant and are unenforced. So yeah. But apparently there's more antitrust work going on in the last 3 years than have been for the last 40. So mergers are being blocked. Companies may be broken up, which is going to be phenomenal. So let's see where it goes. And I read the article. It's a fantastic read, and I highly recommend it. So there you go. Javier, Houston, Saturday special. How about SPX and SPY hitting all-time high? Crazy times. I keep buying calls, but I just feel it's so inflated, overinflated. It is, and it's all because of those 7 tech stocks. There is no logic behind the price action on Nvidia at over $700. And it turns out that SoftBank is fueling it by buying massive call options on those 7 tech stocks. Just huge amounts of them with whatever money they get their hands on, because SoftBank is dying. They've made some really horrible bets. Their Tiger hedge fund lost $17 billion in 2022. They are dying. They are dying in a horrible way, and they need as much scratch as possible. So it looks like they are pumping the SPY through those 7 tech stocks as high as they possibly can. And I want to know when they're going to rug pull it, because they're going to have to go the other way with it. They're going to turn those call options into puts at some point and write it on the way back down. So I'd keep eye on like unusual whales and see if like, oh, somebody bought like $80 billion in put options on the SPY. That might be the sign that SoftBank is going to try and turn this thing around and write it on the way down, because it's unsustainable. The price that's happening on those 7 tech stocks. It's just, it doesn't make any sense otherwise. One ball. Oh, never mind. That does okay. Jason Blackwell, Nextbridge Hydrocarbons, brought in some heavy hitter salesmen at Expo. Pretty exciting. Yeah, they brought in the 2 geologists who discovered the Bakken, which is the huge shale oil that goes through like North Dakota, Montana, and in Canada, Lower Canada. That's produced, it's got like, I don't know, 1 trillion barrels of oil or something up there in the shales. And turned a firefighter I know here on the island into a multi-millionaire. He inherited his grandfather's farm, which no one had been on in like 80 years because the whole family was like, fuck this shit, and they left. But they still own the farm. He inherited it, discovered the Bakken. It's like 2009 or so, 2010. And I think has made around $400,000 a year on the leases since then. So he's good to go. Now he just like firefights as a hobby at that point. So yeah, it's made some rich people. They got some big names in there selling those positions. I think their latest wells, that press release they had back in January, that was like, hey, these wells are 2,000 feet deep and they are pumping. We got the top of a syncline. We're good to go. It was made other people in the industry go, oh, maybe these guys do have something here. And they're only 25 miles from El Paso, so they're advertising that they can send all the oil and gas to El Paso. There's a refinery right there. Good to go. So there you have it. Suljo, ZJYL forward split Thursday. People complain Friday, still no shares. How long can this be strung out before they have to deliver split shares? I don't know. It seems to me that this is happening more and more. The C class shares still haven't shown up in anyone's accounts for metamaterial yet. Whatever those are going to be used for. Yeah, I find it's weird. It's weird, Suljo. It's very weird. Granted, they are a Chinese company, and Chinese companies have shenanigans all the time with their stocks. They get heavily shorted ahead of being put on the market by whoever is underwriting it. And then you see these weird squeezes happen with them. It makes no sense to me. I'm sure everyone's pulling their hairs out at the brokerages trying to figure out how to deliver their splits as well. I have an idea. Call me crazy. But what if we blockchained all the stocks on the market so that you couldn't naked short them and cause problems? I don't know. It's something to think about. Anonymous gifted 5 memberships. Turkish got one. Phil got one. Kbo got one. SP got one. David Horrigan got one. So we got 1, 2, 3 lurkers you added there, Anonymous. Thank you. I like it. I like the anonymous hunting, lurker fishing as you call it. Okay, where are we? That was Joel Dawes. I have Fidelity. I moved my MMTLP to AST 6 months ago, and Fidelity did it for free. But I also told them to read the S1 to no cost me anything to move my shares. That's also important. Read the S1 because the S1 is on hold right now, so that might be hard to do. But it did say in there, it should have been done with no cost. Nanomoth, what do you think the actual value of Nvidia is? Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia stock. Okay. So 723. Market cap is 1.78 trillion. Let me look at, okay. Nvidia sales or revenue 2023. Revenue is 26 billion. Flat from a year ago. So the revenue is flat. If they're 26 billion, 5x it? Right? So 5x it, so 125 billion should be probably their market cap. If you really want to stretch it, you can stretch it probably to 200 billion. But like, let's look at another company that's worth over $1 trillion. So Microsoft revenue 2023. Microsoft revenue is $211 billion, almost $212 billion. Apple revenue 2023, $383 billion. So these guys are 10 to 15 times higher revenue generating than Nvidia, but their corporate value is only twice as much. So that's I mean, they're doing $97 billion in profit. So they're doing almost $100 billion in profit, which is 4 times the entire revenue stream of Nvidia. And they're worth $3 trillion, about twice as much as Nvidia. So Nvidia's like actual value should be around, I don't know, 200 billion or so. Probably less, right? So yeah, that's probably where it should be. So they are about 8 to 9 times overvalued. So there's a lot to fall down. So that means the share price should probably be around 70 to 100 bucks. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, GameStop does $6 billion a year, right? So they do about a quarter of what Nvidia does, and yet GameStop, what's GameStop's market cap right now? GameStop's market cap is $4 billion. So they're still worth $2 billion less than their total sales. And Nvidia is worth, you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, turn off the calculator thing before I go to calculator. Turn it off. Nope. I don't want to do that. Is it off? Turn it off. There we go. Oh, did it? Okay. Turn off that calculator. Okay. So $1.78 trillion. Oh, it's clicking too many things. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's million, billion, trillion divided by 26 billion. Right? So Nvidia's market cap is 68 times their total revenue, while GameStop's market cap is like, what, 60, 70% of their total revenue? Interesting. That's weird. That shouldn't be. That doesn't make any sense, right? Almost 70 times. The market cap's almost 70 times what the total revenue is. And the revenue is flat year over year. So 2022 to 2023, they had almost no growth in the revenue. But the stock price is up like 1,000% or more in that time. That's all pumping. SoftBank is pumping. So, crimes. That's why I just signed everything. SJ's got coordinates. Ooh, I haven't done coordinates in a little while. Let's do some coordinates here, SJ. Okay. Bam. Google Earth. Boom. Google Earth. Google Earth. Oh, wrong screen, Google Earth. Oh, yeah, we left ourselves off in South Carolina, didn't we? Okay. Come on. Bam, bam. Put space, I think, there. Boom. All right. Oh, we're flying. We're heading down south. Going to this place. Right there. It is Lego housing. Looks like we have ourselves a clubhouse with pool. And my guess is a whole bunch of like poisonous snakes and spiders live here. What am I doing here, SJ? What am I doing here? Where was I? Am I near Perth? I actually couldn't quite see where I was coming into. No, I'm way out in the middle. I'm on the Toolies. Oh, I'm in South Africa. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm in South Africa. I thought I was going down to Australia. So I am at... Is this that place that's... the Eye of Africa Resort. That's right. Oh, God damn it. Second time I've been taken to this one. So we can go play golf at the Eye of Africa Country Club. The Eye of Africa Golf Estate. Where are we? We're near Johannesburg. Was that the close city? Johannesburg, yep. Bastard. All right. Joel Dawes, next bridge, hydrocarbons is a cash cow after they're up and running. Yep. It looks like 5 wells would be enough money for them to basically drill in perpetuity. It costs them around, like $10 million a well to drill. And if they're pulling down $1 billion after splitting it 50-50 with an investor, or $2 billion, that's a lot of wells. That's hundreds and hundreds of wells they can drill, and each one will fund a further well. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. Benny Bachelor, I feel like Roddy Piper in They Live Where I Look at Spy 500 and see Spy 300 with my glasses. Oh. Sir Barther, it's my favorite band, Twiddlin' Houston and the Hodlers. And just a big blonde R.A. Dickey. I wish I was a big blonde R.A. Dickey. R.A. Dickey, I mean, he was one of those guys who was a flamethrower, was having trouble, reinvented himself as a knuckleballer. I wish the Mariners had kept him. He had one season with the Mariners where he's figuring out his knuckleball and he's doing okay. They went to the Mets and won a Cy Young Award with one of the best pitching performances in the last, 30 years. That season with the Mets was phenomenal. But by then he was already older. He was in his late 30s and falling apart. I'll tell you, I have been having a fantasy. This fantasy is we get paid out. It's a decent amount, enough that I don't have to do shit. And I take Monkey Butt and we go to like North Carolina to a velocity pitching academy where I work on getting my fastball up in the 90s. And then next year, sign up at community college, take some blow-off classes, and use my last year of college eligibility as a 44-year-old pitcher at community college. It's in a fantasy in my head. And I was like, you know what? That might be kind of fun. Who knows? Maybe I'll blow my elbow out trying to get there. But I got 1 year of eligibility left. Why not use it? What else am I going to do? You know? I'll play baseball against a bunch of guys that were born after I last played baseball. Why not? There'll certainly be some local newspaper articles about it. Look at this old asshole. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. I think I still got it. I just got to get in shape. That's all. And it just involves lots of long toss. And all of a sudden your arm is really strong and you can throw really hard. It's pretty amazing how long toss works. If you got kids who oh great, now my internet is dying again. All right, as long as it's working. If you've got kids who are playing baseball, right? You're like, hey, my kid's interested in pitching. Long toss. Go out to the football field, go out to the edge of the outfield, and just throw that ball as far as you can, as many times as you can. Just hurl it as far as you can. Put everything you have into it. Get that sucker so it's like, whoa! And before long, you're going to discover you're like 17 years old and you're throwing it the entire length of the football field, which feels crazy awesome. And if you happen to have like the special genes in your body, you might be able to throw it the entire length of the football field as a frozen rope, like Bo Jackson. So, and I'm turning into Max Headroom. I'm watching it happen in real time here. Why is my internet so garbage? It's just trash all the time, and it drives me up the wall. Anyway, long toss, long toss, long toss, long toss. Personally, what I would do is, we had a great tennis court. It's now been replaced with part of the high school, but there was a tennis court at the high school that had this big concrete wall, and I would basically measure out 60 feet, 6 inches from that wall, tape up a strike zone, and just hurl fastballs as hard as I could against that thing. Zap! Whack! And then I ground it, and then throw it again. Also, it's great practice for getting your butt down to field grounders too. But I would do that. I would do 150 of those, like once or twice a week, and I just do that until baseball season. Just zip, whack, and hit the wall, and then roll back to you. And that was how I built up my arm strength. And I was throwing 93 at my peak, which today, with all the biomechanics these speed drill dudes do, like if I had gone to a pitching academy, which did not exist 20 something years ago, but if I had gone to a pitching academy at 18 years old, throwing 93 miles an hour, at the end of a summer, I would have come out throwing 99. It is crazy the work that these guys do, and like the workouts to put them in, because it's all about pecs and lats and then your legs. So you want big, powerful legs, and you want pecs and lats to force the ball to go hard, and you want to strengthen the area around the elbow, because that's the thing that will fall apart because your body's a giant whip. Anyway, I'm digressing, but yeah, I would. Oh man, I'd love to like. I think if I ever like hit 99 on a radar gun, my erection would get me arrested. Like that. Oh, that'll be amazing. Anyway, Nonamoth, have you heard anyone having trouble getting shares from Schwab for MMTLP? We had, in the beginning of the chat, was Anthony Cordell, and he said that they were doing it for $80. So apparently Schwab is helping him do it. And Nonamoth, whatever happened to the $99 trillion swap? Maybe someone took it on. I have not heard anything else about it. It's bigger than $99 trillion. It's 1 quadrillion. It's $999 trillion swap. I don't know, man. I don't know where it went. DJ Kelly Reed. Good call out on the Canadian jobs market. The minimum wage jobs aren't enough to sustain a single person living by themselves. Truth. But at least you guys have healthcare. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about paying an extra like $500 a month for healthcare with your minimum wage job like you do here in the U.S. So one up on us on that one. Scott Lumley, Houston. Once you get this lawsuit stuff behind you, can you please run for office? I can't wait to phone bank for your candidate. Follow through with the request, do the timing. Really, no tracking number? Say you're willing to pay like $10 if they'll send it to you certified, like an extra $10, send it to you certified, and with like $1 million insurance on it. I think USPS only goes up to 25,000 because I've had to send gemstones, and I think that's as much as I could do. But yeah, there you go. So think about that. DJ's got coordinates as well. Oh my goodness. Looks like we're going south again. Oops. Okay. Right click, copy, scene, back to I have Africa. Boom. Search. Where are we going? South America? Going to Argentina? Going to... Oh, the guitar-shaped hedge thing. I've seen this one before. Guitar-shaped field. Do we have a street view for this thing? We don't, do we? Oh, that's a bummer. Have a little round pond here. That's what it looks like from Google. So, yeah, guitar-shaped field. Out here in the middle of nowhere. I dig it though. Ring. There's nothing to it, just guitar-shaped field. That's it. No Wikipedia entry. Just out here in the middle of all these fields. Where are we? Like Rio Negro? Or above Rio Negro. We are in Cordoba. Cordoba. Fine carnitine leather. I like it. William said he'd need to pay around $150 per share. What? Is that to put your shares back in the market? Wow. Damn. Yeah, if you get paper shares, then maybe hand them to AST and let them deal with all that stuff. Bex Houston, happy birthday. What is this trickery and nonsense? I barely know what day it is normally without you doing weekend shows, other than your birthday, of course. Sorry, yeah, I didn't do a show yesterday, but I did do a special show Thursday. I figured we can do one Saturday. I got nothing going on. I spent the day working on the car. Took a nice big long walk with Monkey Butt and some friends, yeah, with you. And then finally showered, so you got to see some Wethead. And now I'm doing a show because I'm not hungry yet. I probably will be after the show, because whenever I do a show, it cooks my brain, and I'm really hungry afterwards. It's pretty phenomenal how hungry I am after doing a show. Like, ravenous. Cactus Whack. Thoughts on 214? Still looking hopeful? Hasn't been moved yet. So, I mean, I can't remember when it was they pushed the dates before, if it was like day of or day before. So I'm still expecting. Here's what I'm expecting. If there's no announcement from the pump and dump case, then I think it's going to get pushed back. If there is an announcement from the pump and dump case, I think it's game on. So here we sit wondering. So it's an if then else situation. All right. So if pump and dump case is resolved, then 214 hearing happens. Or else the 214 gets pushed back. Turkish. Where's my money, Lebowski? Exactly. Brian Andrews. Hey, Houston. What up from Chicago Auto Show? Oh, fun. I didn't get to go to the Seattle Auto Show this year. I wanted to, and I just didn't have the week free. Cactus Whack. Also, apparently, public brokerage listed BBBY as $72. Seems odd when one person shares a pic and doesn't show when searching for everyone else. Yeah, it happens quite a bit. I think there's A, glitches. Those glitches may be in our favor. And B, I think there's probably people also just faking shit. That happens too. Happens on both sides. The shills do it. We do it. Yeah. BJK031. Genuine question. Who do you think will win this November and why? I think Biden will win because I think the Republicans are going to be a mess. I don't think Trump will be on the ballot because I think he'll be getting sentenced around then. I mean, today Trump said like, "Hey, I went to our NATO allies and was like, hey, if you don't start paying more, I'm going to tell Russia do whatever they want to you," which is fucking criminal. like absolutely criminal. Be like, I'm going to hang my allies out to dry unless I like see a little more change out of it. It's mob mentality. It's like, it'd be a shame something happened to your fine restaurant here, huh? But for a couple $100, I'll make sure nothing happens to it. That's basically how he was governing. He's a mobster, and that right there should be enough for everyone to go, wow, this person is really dangerous to have in power. I do think Biden is way too old to be president. I don't think he should be president. In 2020, out of the 23 people who are running for presidency, he was like my 19th choice. I thought there were 18 people who were running who were a better choice than Biden. And for some reason, we ended up with Biden. And everyone's like, why do we have such an old president? Because you guys voted for him, dummies. You had your chance to vote for somebody younger and more charismatic with better ideas in February of 2020, but you didn't. You went into South Carolina and voted for the really old guy, and now you're complaining you have a really old guy. So you had your chance. And I mean, in 2020, the Democrats could have run like, I don't know, one of Monkey's turds in a flaming bag, and it probably would have won. So you had your opportunity to pick like somebody who was amazing, and young, but no, you didn't. So now we got two geriatrics are the front runners, and that's the world we live in. Two guys, one guy who apparently is like snorting opiates in the White House, and the other guy who, shuffles around and has no energy. So, yeah. All right. Code Red K. Houston, much appreciated. My pleasure. Can I read Happy Birthday HW? With your crystal ball, where do you see GME in the next few years and the future of G America headed? I mean, crystal ball right now is leaning towards them offering a dividend at this quarterly earnings report in March. I think they're going to be like, hey, we're going to offer a 15-cent dividend. I don't think it'll need to be much. I think a little bit of dividend will go a long ways. I think they're also going to beat the earnings estimate by a lot. I think they're going to beat the earnings estimate by like $1. It's going to, or 50 cents or something. It's going to be a lot. And it'll show profit for the entire year. So I think that is going to be like a knife in the kidneys and twist and turn. And there's a nuggy stare going on. Look at that nuggy stare right now. Look at that idiot. Look at her. Just staring. So yeah, I think that's on the fundamental side, that's one thing. On the investment portfolio side, I wonder if they're going to announce things that they've invested into. And from the filings they did announcing that they're going to invest this $1 billion+, it appears as though Ryan Cohen gets to direct where the investment is, and then he's going to take his own money and invest as well, so that he is facing the same risk as the company. So it's going to be acting sort of like a holdings company for Ryan Cohen, because he's going to be matching those funds with his own investments. I'd be curious to see who gets invested in, right? Is it going to be like, oh, it's going to invest in Apple and Google and Microsoft? Or are they going to find some other undervalued companies and do some turnarounds with them and bring them under the umbrella? I'll be curious to see what happens. But I do think over the next year, the stock price is going to be higher than it is now because they'll be offering a dividend. Ape Frog, great opening. Thank you. Stephanie, speaking of genes, 23andMe found a genetic variant related to muscle composition that elite athletes have in my DNA. Is this a thing? Oh, yeah. Short twitch muscles and myostatin deficiencies. Have you ever seen a myostatin deficiency? Holy shit. Let's show you one. I had a roommate that had one. He was the strongest human being I've ever met in my entire life. Oops, I got to turn off the Google Earth. Blink. Okay. Myostatin deficiency. So it's basically a gene that tells that. So myostatin tells your genes to stop growing muscles, and hey, they're growing enough muscles. We're cool. If you have the deficiency, your muscles just keep growing because they're like, we're constantly under pressure, and they make for hulks, absolute amazing hulks. They can happen in cows and like whippets. Human beings can have it as well. So like, here's a whippet. This is supposed to be like a skinny dog, but it is fucking Hulk. Here's a bull that has it, myostatin deficiency. My roommate had it, and he's basically like, this might be someone who works out or whatever, but my roommate looked like this dude here. Very, very much like absolutely just thick as a brick. And like touching him was like touching a wall. Just like his traps, holy cow, there was nothing cuddly. There was like hard as a rock. He was so freakishly strong. And so there's creatures out there that got myostatin deficiencies, and there's kids with it. And freak athletes can have that. And the short twitch muscles that they get are incredible. So yeah, there's definitely genes. I mean, you'll see someone who's a freak athlete produce children who are freak athletes. Genetics, man. It happens. So yeah, it's so Stephanie. I don't know if you got any kids, but you can find a person with those genes. Pump out a couple future professional athletes. Do the world a favor, and pump out some athletes for us. I'll teach them how to throw a baseball. How about that? James Brown. Oh, the James Brown from Back from the Dead. Is TD Ameritrade charging for transferring shares to AST? Probably, but I don't know specifically. They're owned by Schwab, so maybe it's going to be $80, like it is for the Schwab people. Punch a Tree says punch a tree. Okay. Shane's here. Hazel A. Any uniform BYQ? Nothing big. Just a couple of yik-yaks about how the 2024 bonds are still trading. And if they're still trading, then the dip financiers get a payout, and their bonds mature on May 1st, 2024. BFH 2-hour show or just 1 hour show? Maybe probably do 2 hours today. Yeah, we'll do 2 hours. I got a steak in the fridge. I'll cook that later. Joel Dawes used to need to go to Congress and inform them of all the facts. I would love to. It's just that taking time off work and the money involved, I don't have the ability at the moment. Chad Clifford, let's discuss the importance of GME and why it's the greatest investment of our lives. Happy birthday. Heavily shorted, about to be profitable, going to invest a ton of money, and the shorts are fucked. That's why. Lone Wolf, I read that Evergrande is officially done, worth like a penny on the dollar. Oh yeah, they're screwed. They're getting liquidated of everything. The Chinese bondholders will get paid out. Everyone else probably going to get nothing. And that's it. There's a good article that was in the subreddit about how investors are like, oh, we're not getting anything. And they've had like 3 years to know that they're not getting anything. Like they've been toast for 3 years. So yeah. BOH Houston. How much do you think any congressional action will get derailed by the elections in November? I'm expecting Finra to play the clock and try to see if any key DOJ congressmen get thrown out. I think an investigation can make headway and conclude before there be a changing of a guard next January. So if let's say Northam, he's pretty safe in South Carolina. I don't think he's going anywhere. Let's say, or Norman, sorry, I keep saying Northam. Norman. If Norman gets thrown out, they might lose a leader on that. But the committee itself would be having results by January 3rd, I think, or at least a couple of hearings that make some headway that would make, FINRA quake in their boots that they might be facing RICO charges and seek some sort of settlement. On Wednesday we'll have some good conversations with Rosa. She can probably game theory for us pretty well, as well as give us her updates on everything. Oh, we're getting the nuggy stare. Yes, we are. There's not very many left. I've got this bag here. I got 2.5 left. So you get one. You get one, and then I'm going to get some more at some point. You get one nuggie. Come get it. Come on. Be rude. Come on. It's right there. It's right there. You're so gentle. I don't know a single dog in the entire world who'd be that gentle. Sean Kraft, I like money. You like money too? Antonio Baez, I just don't see the government holding Finra's feet to the fire. I think there is so much corruption in government and in the markets that only solution is uncontrolled meltdown. I do think that there are corrupt people on both sides of the spectrum who are in elected office. There are Democrats who will take money and then say the right things and pretend like they aren't taking money. There are Republicans who do the same thing. But weirdly, the only bipartisan area right now for both sides of Congress is market reform. So I think about half on both sides are sick of seeing the corruption in this regards and are willing to get together to ban insider trading by members of Congress, to go after regulators and force them to actually regulate and follow through on these rules. And I think that we have bothered them enough We have called them enough, and don't stop calling. Keep calling your congressman and writing letters and sending emails. Don't stop. Keep it up. That we have bothered them enough that there's not that at this point, from like, let's say Citadel or Goldman Sachs or something, there is not enough money in the world that could donate to a campaign to make them want to put up with how many times we've been calling them and bugging them and going to their offices. like imagine someone's like, hey, I'll put $25,000 in your campaign if you do this thing for me. But then you have to field 1,000 phone calls a day for the rest of your life from people who are pissed off at the guy who sent you $25,000. Like, you would give up that $25,000 so fast versus it's like this, the reward is not worth it. Like, if you had a job, if your job paid you $25,000 a year, glorified minimum wage, to sit and answer 1,000 phone calls a day from pissed off people, you wouldn't do it. You would be like, no, I'm not going to do this. So I just don't think that there's enough money from these market makers to make up for the fact of how annoying we are. Our annoyance is worth more than what the money is that they're getting. So I think we have a real shot. I think we have a real shot with this because we're the most annoying assholes in existence. And us being that annoying gets things done. They're going to be like, fuck it, get this thing off my plate already. Just do the investigation, throw everyone in jail, and we'll be done with this. So yeah. Probably stupid. The fuck this load into? Batman logo? Yeah, Troop of Batman has an entrance theme now. John Vasquez, any thoughts on the stock market breaking or we keep going up? I don't know how it keeps going up. To this point, I would have thought it would broken by now. But yeah. Yeah. BOH, so for what I'm hearing, V is live action Scooby-Doo for tinfoil hat wearers? Yeah. Lizard people. Joseph, you ever watched The League? Triple Batman was what Kevin had named his kid's second child in the show. That's why I named him that, man. So yeah, I've seen The League. Yeah. Show's so funny. It's by one of the Seinfeld writers created it. I was like, a couple seasons in, I was like, this has a lot of Seinfeld vibes to it. Because it's really about nothing whatsoever. And just way more immature than Seinfeld ever was. Seinfeld was a little more highbrow on how they approach things, but they were disgusting on The League. A very funny show. But it's like if Seinfeld was gross. Kelly Reed, Bell is cutting 4,800 jobs and restructuring. Rogers isn't far behind. Recession seems imminent with Canada 5-year bonds spiking. Lots of cracks showing in the economy. Yeah. Sean Kraft, will we get paid before Rico? Well, if Rico is the threat, they will definitely gladly pay us rather than face Rico. That's kind of one of the theories behind the $11.8 billion administrative claim in BBBY is that JP Morgan, for their part in the stock buybacks, which destroyed the company, will be facing a RICO investigation. And they basically were like, well, here's that money back because it's much better to just give the money than face a RICO charge. So yeah, that's one of the theories is that's why there's $11.8 billion sitting there is that's actually from the threat of RICO against JP Morgan. So we'll find out hopefully on the 14th if that's right or not, or we'll wait until it's pushed back to another date further in the future. But yeah, so think about that. Anthony Cordo, happy birthday, Houston. I'm second. You were first, I think, Anthony. Barry's bit, any chance Gary Gensler has immunity? I think Gary Gensler wants the congressional investigation to force him to do things. So you can be like, look, sorry, markets, Congress is forcing my hand. I have to do this thing. And that way he won't be taking the blame for making these fast changes to how the market operates, which could theoretically collapse like every family fund and hedge fund in the world. So I think that's the reason why he sent that real limp dick letter to Congress where he's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Sorry. was to force them to be pissed off and to launch an investigation. That way, when they demand stuff from him via subpoena, which he has to give, if they subpoena him for information, even if there's an investigation, the 1933 Securities Act says he has to give it to them. So, right now he's just kind of pussyfooting around, because if he gives us stuff and the markets all collapse because of it, then he gets blamed. But if they subpoena it from him, then it's Congress's fault. And he's like, hey, they made me. They tied my hands. I had to do this. So I think that's what's happening. Antonio Bias, did you get a haircut? I cut my hair last week. I don't know. Whenever it was. I had a date, so I cut my hair. Sisson54. So does this mean GME shorts are hidden offshore? So is that quintillion swap real? Yes, and possibly yes. Filling updates on Pump It Up lawsuit? Nope. Not a one. We just need a ruling from the judge if he's going to dismiss, let it move forward, or swap out the plaintiffs. Anthony Cordell, you missed my first question. Is it unusual for there to be so much redacted information in bankruptcy? From what I've heard, yes. It's very unusual. If it was just a straight liquidation, they would liquidate and that'd be it. Done. Chapter 7, move on. But it doesn't appear to be a straight liquidation, especially since post-liquidation, they spent $50 million setting the company up for a merger acquisition and preserving the nulls. That's something that the shills always seem to get wrong. Like, talk about, hey, there's nulls. They're like, nulls, there's no company. I'm like, well, there is a company. They kept 63 employees from the accounting, and they paid over $2 million to relocate them to another location. So yeah, there's still a company there, and there's nulls. Well, I mean, the UCC tried to monetize the nulls and they couldn't, so there's no nulls. I'm like, that, you don't know what monetize means. It means they tried to turn the nulls into cash, straight cash, and they couldn't, because if you look at the filings, they could not monetize it because they were being preserved and rolled forward. So that's why. So the nulls are there. The nulls, by my estimate, are probably upwards of $10 billion, if not more. Because the first 9 months of 2023, there was $3.8 billion in losses. For 2022, $2.78 billion. For 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, about $1 billion a year each. That comes to around $10 billion, a pinch more. So that means someone who buys this company via credit bid, does a reverse merger or whatever, could have $10 billion in profit and not have to worry about paying $3 billion in taxes. So pretty good. Pretty darn good. It's worth $2.5 billion more than what the dip financer paid to fund this bankruptcy. So yeah, and then the shills don't seem to know how a calendar works. Like, they sold the IP for Bye Bye Baby and Bed Bath in July. That's when the sales went through. And then in August, they started the work on merger acquisition and nulls. So why wouldn't they have started merger acquisition and nulls prior to selling the IP if there was going to be no value left in the company? Which comes first, July or August, shills? Can you guys look at a calendar and tell me? Do you know how chronological time works? It'd be interesting to find out, because so far the shills, every time I ask them this, they don't have the ability to answer me directly. Because I ask, like, hey, what comes first, July or August? And then they say something completely unrelated. I'm like, you didn't answer my question. I want to know what comes first, July or August. If the nulls aren't important, why'd they spend more money on nulls than they got from selling the IP after they sold the IP? If they aren't worth anything, if they aren't worth upwards of $3 billion straight cash, then why did they spend all that time and money doing it? So yeah. Anthony Cordell for BBBY. That is what got me interested in BBBY. Okay. Sincere 206. Hey, Houston, happy birthday. My MMTLP shares are trapped in E-Trade. Requested to have them moved with no luck. What are the chances we still receive a settlement or the ability to trade when the saga ends? I mean, if you got documentation that you tried, I think you can contact an expert to be like, I tried, E-Trade sucks. And so maybe that's how you do it. Have I missed any cattail karaoke? I think we had some cattail karaoke come in, so you possibly did. To Julio DeSantis 2024. Julio loves to stir shit up. DeSantis my nuts. Turkish. Houston, tell 101 Nas to get back to work. Wendy, they have been slacking off and customers have been piling up. Okay. And Turkish got a membership out of that. Black Bezos. Super microcomputer went from $86 to over $700 in a 52-week range. Yeah, not sure if that's sustainable. Yes. It's not. It is not sustainable at all. Enter to name what's going on with Sears Holding. Not much. The plan administrator asked for a 3-year extension because it's going to take that long to sell the real estate. So we sit and wait. I'm hoping to have a Sears super expert on in the coming weeks, and he hopefully can fill us all in as to what's going on with Sears greater than I could. JL, hi Houston. You just made my day that you have posted today. Well, thank you. Not a moth. Saying you're welcome for everyone you gave the doohickeys to. Hot Pocket Rebel. I just got approved for options and I love to gamble. Wish me luck. Good luck. I was going to look at... I'm going to go back to the little calculator game here. I got to turn off Chrome. There's calculator. Okay. I'm going to go GME options chain. One sec. Okay. GME options chain. Let's look at the GME options chain for a moment. We can't see the GME options chain, but we're going to put you back on. Okay. So options chain. So this is looking for what's going to expire next week. And I just want to see what prices stuff is. So it looks like 21s. There's some folks possibly getting it around 2 cents, so $2 per option, which is $7-ish, $6.50 above what we got there. Let's say that there's a BBBY payout, and it happens. They announce it on Wednesday, on Valentine's Day, right? There's a BBY payout. They announce it on Wednesday. It is $44 a share. So if you have 10,000 shares, you now have $440,000 sitting in your account, right? And all those BBY holders, what they're going to be doing is they're going to go and they're going to buy probably GME and IEP with that money. Why? Because we're insane. So we're going to go buy GME with it. We'll forget about IEP for the moment. We're going to buy GME with it. And imagine you have probably an average of 10,000 shares per holder, right? Of BBY. So you get this payment. It's coming before the earnings happen in March. And so you have 440,000. You and 800,000 other investors have $440,000 in your account all of a sudden. And you're going to buy a whole bunch of shares. Let's say we get to the weeklies, right? The price might rocket before then. So let's look at April 19th, which would be after earnings, right? Let's see what we got here. We got $10 higher, $24. So we've got $46 to get an option that's $10 above that. So you could basically get about 10,000 options at that price for your 440,000, because there's $44. So yeah, about 10,000 options. So you get 10,000 of them at $24. Price goes up to $24 or $25, and suddenly you are over $1 on each one of those shares, so $100 per option. You got 10,000 of them at $100 each. Well, you just made $1 million, right? Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. So it's there. It's there. There's something to do. If you're doing weeklies and you see a jump like that happen, you might be able to make like $100 million off of it. Because if we go back to the weeklies, back to the February 16th, Right? Like this, here's one at a penny. So get $1 each. So you have $400,000. You could theoretically buy 400,000 of these suckers. And if the price goes to $25 as a result of earnings, or because people all of a sudden are buying stocks like crazy, buying GPU like crazy, because they're pumping like $20 billion into the market. Let's calculate that sucker. We got $440,000 because we calculate. Where'd you go? There you are. Clear. You have $440,000. Why do you keep double clicking? Quick double clicking. 0000. $440,000 allows you to buy 440,000 of these $23 options. Theoretically, weeklies, right? And the stock price goes to like $25. It goes up $10.50 due to great earnings. All of us weirdos buying the stocks like crazy. So you are now up about $250 per. You're up $250 per one of those things. You now have $110 million on that lotto play. Man, it'd be tempting to load up on those suckers. Really tempting. Really tempting. Really, 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 really tempting. Option degeneracy. One of these days, one of you assholes are going to win this sucker, and I'll be so happy for you. Okay. Bill Coyne, Harvard report, 44% of U.S. workers identify as low-wage earners. January 22 is not to say minimum wage. Read article in the Harvard Gazette. Much has been taken out of context. Oh, I think what it was is 44% are earning $10.25 an hour or less. So, but I mean, minimum wage has not moved. When was the last time minimum wage moved? Like 1995 or something when it went to $7.25 an hour. So, yeah. I mean, Elon Musk's wealth has grown by $200 billion, but minimum wage hasn't changed in 20-something years. It's, yeah. So if you're in 1025, you're earning greater than federal minimum wage, but might be below, like state minimum wage here in Washington. It's like $15 an hour. Seattle, I think they're moving to like $21 an hour. So if you're making $10 an hour, you're making half as much as you would in Seattle. So, meh. Okay. Flight Guy 99. Houston. Asked a while ago about BBY in Tukwila is shuttered last time I drove by. But BBY in Tukwila is shuttered last time I drove by. I was in South Center. I didn't think to look for it. I assume it's shuttered. They do have a subsidiary for Washington, though. They have like their 30 whatever subsidiaries, and they're all over the different states. They do have a subsidiary for Washington in the bankruptcy, which is interesting. Barry's Bit. Tello came on the market yesterday. The owner owns all the shares, and they got humbled the same day. True story. Tello. What's Tello? Tello. That did not. Tello Genomics? This looks like something that's been around for a while. That's the Tello I'm looking at, the Canadian stock. Tello Pharmaceuticals? Telomere Pharmaceuticals, that one? Tello Genomics? Tello. Must have been, Tello Pharmaceuticals. So they opened at $7,000 a share and then finished at $5 a share. Am I reading that right? So $7,000 a share. No, $7 a share. I read that decimal wrong. So $7 a share. Okay. Whew. I thought about to have a heart attack there. Opened at $7 a share, finished at $4.90. Okay. What else? Do we know anything about them? I don't know anything. I've never heard of them, so I don't know. Telomere Pharmaceuticals. Not 7,000. I was crazy, monkey. What was I thinking, monkey? Misreading a decimal place. Crazy Houston. Word. So the owner owns all the shares, and it's still traded down. Oh, so Ham Short Killer said stock IPO'd this week, and one person made a deal to buy all 1 million shares that were IPOing at $7, and then it dropped. Huh. Interesting. Legacy 10 Productions, Houston. Is it a good idea to deposit our physical and expert certificates with AST? Will it help in selling them in a timely manner? Personally, I'm glad Fidelity sent my physical shares to AST so I don't have to worry about it, because I have no interest in having to juggle those things or manage them or keep them safe. So if I were to register, I would gladly have AST hold on to them for me. Anyone else? Hot Pocket Rebel, what do you think of Burns, the pitcher Orioles traded for? I will have to look here. Where's the quote? Also, right-hander Corbin Burns from Milwaukee Brewers. Let's look up Corbin Burns. I don't get to see the National League guys too much. So, let's baseball reference that sucker. Let's see what he's got. What do you got? He had 3.5 WAR last year. That's pretty decent. 13.5 career WAR. WHIP is really nice. That is Cy Young level WHIP numbers right there. So perhaps if he had a better team behind him, he would have been in the running. Would have probably won 10 more games. Okay, so always look at the WHIP. The WHIP is the stuff. If you see WHIPs above 1.25, not that great. We got 1.8, not very good. So 2019, that's why he's 1-5. But 1.022, very good. 0.94, extremely good. 0.965, extremely good. 1.069, extremely good. Strikeout to walks are decent. You won the Cy Young in 2021. That's with that 9.40 WHIP. That'll do it. Pitchers don't pitch as late into games anymore, so you're not going to see 20 game winners that often. But yeah, those are good numbers. Those are very good numbers. Good strikeouts, 243 for only 200 innings. 30 years ago, you would see dudes pitching like 250 to 300 innings in a year, and getting 300 strikeouts. But they don't. We have so many specialty relievers, they just don't do that anymore. So. But so many ads, die ads, so many ads, all of them. Okay. So yeah, no, I think he's a solid pitcher. If you get an offense behind him, these win numbers would go up a lot. But no complete games, because people just don't do complete games anymore. Therefore, he has no shutouts. So that tells me that A, they've been babying his arm, and B, he might wither a lot when it comes to late innings. But it's okay. He gets, as long as he got a good reliever core, and the Orioles do. I mean, the Orioles had the best record in baseball last year. So, and on a very, very, very small team budget. So, I think you guys can do all right. So, not very many walks. Basically 2 walks a game. That's pretty decent. So, yeah, good pitcher. Very good. Very good pitcher. Antonio Baez, why is my chat off? I can see you. Can you not see yourself? Make sure you click on live chat up in the corner, and so you can see. Maybe for some reason, YouTube is like, no, he's not selected chat material. Jay Geyser, buy the team, put yourself in as a closer. I would get rocked so hard. But I would love it. Okay. Nunya D Biz. Okay, everybody. Put the pressure on Houston. Monkey needs her nuggie. You got it already. You got your nuggie. We're good. Now it's wherever I want to go. Can't wait to see Platinum Rico charge. That could also happen too. So I'd be interested to see her communications, everybody. Subpoena everybody. Subpoena me. Subpoena everybody. Peter Vigna. So The Rock might have this, and is a natty. Joe Rogan is calling him out for using roids. I thought The Rock already said he did all that stuff. Like he's like, look, no one looks like this without surgery and chemicals at my age. I thought he'd already like established that a long time ago. He's already like, I get liposuction, I do all those things. So I'm pretty sure he does all that stuff. If you aren't competing in a sport, I don't give a shit. If you're competing in a sport, go natural. You know, don't inject yourself with chemicals that will bulk you up. But if you're pushing 50 years old and you're just playing characters in a movie, I don't give a shit if you roid out and inject yourself with things and take human growth hormone, testosterone, and whatever else. I'm fine with that. But if you're gonna be playing a sport, no, I don't want a chemically altered person in the sport, because it's just, that defeats the entire purpose of like seeing like natural phenomena happen. Monkey, stop whining. No more whining down there. You got your nuggie already. Boss fight steak can get to nice room temp if brought out now. Nobles Houston, you mentioned earlier about Tether generation in Bitcoin upwards price. How can we track those generations? Basically, when they announce it, because Tether always announces like, "Oh, we're minting this many coins." So if you got news alerts for that, they'll let you know that, oh, it's time to buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin because that price is going to rocket. I'll put the link for that study that was done. Tether minting correlates to Bitcoin price. Monkey, stop whining. Stop. Get up here. Come on. Hey, get up here. Come on. Play with your cat. Get up here. Come on. Nope. Get up here. Or you can go back there. Just don't stare at me and whine. It is awful. This guy. New study finds that using US dollar Tether supply data to time Bitcoin market entries and exits can increase return on investment to 229%. Basically, it's a 1-for-1. If they start minting Tether, then Bitcoin rockets. So here's a link to that. Bam, bam. There in the chat for you. EB, Houston. Longtime lurker, first-time poster. I love the show. Keep it up. Thank you, EB. It's very kind of you. The lurkers are coming out. EB had to announce themselves before they got outed by someone gifting memberships. So yeah, this whole article just points out exactly all the times that Tether is minted and Bitcoin's price actions immediately afterwards, because they're minting Tether and buying Bitcoin with it. That's unbacked, and then they slowly sell over time all the Bitcoin for cash, and that's how they make their money. I mean, I wish I was smart enough to basically counterfeit 100 billion US dollars without counterfeiting 100 billion US dollars and do it all offshore like the guys at Tether. That's basically what they've done. And it is just the most brilliant scam to have ever existed. Just absolute amazing brilliance. And it will crash everything someday when people want to get their $100 billion back out of Tether. Because someone out there exchanged Bitcoin for that Tether thinking, oh, I got some money. And they don't have any money in there. So what they do then, they take that Tether and they go buy Ethereum or some other shitcoin with it. And someone else gets stuck with it. It's going to be a giant losing proposition in the end for everyone. It's just phenomenal that they've gotten away with it for this long. I wish I'd come up with this scam. If I had a time machine, I would go back to 2008 and be like, Houston, read about Bitcoin and wait for the Ethereum platform to come online, and then make yourself your own token of a stable coin worth $1 US each. And then you can mint as much as you want. But do it in the Canary Islands or Bahamas or something, where the federal authorities can't get to you. And then you can mint every year, mint yourself another $5 to $10 billion in it, and then sell your Bitcoin get your cash and offshore it somewhere under, a shell company of some kind, and then, live your best life as the world's anonymous fourth richest person. That's what Time Machine Houston would do. Aaron Salentine, Houston, just run for Congress, promote your campaign, your show here, Houston, against short selling. I wonder how. I don't know if I could take money. I don't know if I could do super chats. I don't know, it'd be weird. I wonder what the rules are about running for Congress and then operating your own YouTube channel at the same time. I'd look at the Public Disclosure Commission and figure all that stuff out. It's weird. I don't know. I'd love to get this lawsuit crap out of the way. My life would just be so much easier. All right. Peter Vigno, what's up with hydrogens all over my news feed lately? Sounds like some automakers are making a push for hydrogen. So that they're abandoning lithium ion cars, going to hydrogen as a zero emission way to power vehicles. I'm cool with it, but the problem is that getting hydrogen is a very energy intensive process. So you're going to be burning coal and everything else like you would to charge a car. Also, you got to set up the infrastructure and have hydrogen fuel stations all over the place, as many as you would have current gas stations. You might be able to get most gas stations to have a hydrogen tank as well as their regular fuel tanks. It's it's going to be a little difficult. How do you put it? Adoption process. A little more difficult than electricity because everyone has electricity in their homes. You just put in a plug and you're good to go. But yeah, I think solid state batteries will make hydrogen necessary, and those are only a few years away. So they're going to spend a lot of money doing this hydrogen adoption, and then all of a sudden solid state batteries are going to come out, and people will charge their cars in a very short period of time, about as much time as it takes to fuel a car, and then they'll be able to drive for 1,000 to 3,000 miles off that charge. So hydrogen is not going to be able to compete with that. You're going to have about the same distance you have with a regular fueled vehicle, and a much more dangerous transportation of hydrogen because I do not want to see a hydrogen explosion. It's going to be so gnarly. KCTB, do you have any stories of a rich company leaving it to their son's kids and they ruin the company? Because I do, lol. Happened to my cousin, and the dad got a stroke. Kid moved out of state. Why so often? Usually it's the third generation. The first generation starts the business. The second generation sees the dad work hard and what they did and what they sacrificed. They run the company like crazy. The third generation never saw the founding, never interacted with their grandfather enough, whatever. And when they get in charge, they ruin everything. Happened with Molson. So Molson was a banking, brewing conglomerate in Canada. And Molson III was the idiot who lost the family a lot of their fortune. It happened with Anheuser-Busch. The third generation of Anheuser-Busch children fucked up, and then their company got bought out by InBev at Budweiser. It's usually the third generation are the ones that suck it up. There's a whole article that came out about that a few years ago. Third generation ruin family companies. Data support varying. Some 70% of family-owned businesses fail or are sold before the second generation gets a chance to take over. Just 10% remain active. That's not what I'm looking for. Do most family businesses really fail by the third generation? Data suggests that. So here's Harvard Business Review. See what they have to say up here. If you're a fan of HBO Succession, or if you're aware of conflicts playing out publicly and perennially among some of the most visible family businesses in the world, think the Murdochs or Summer Redstone's family, you might assume that family businesses are more fragile than other forms of enterprise. Indeed, that's the conventional wisdom. Many articles and speeches about family businesses today include a reference to the third three-generation rule, which says that most don't survive beyond 3 generations. That perception could not be further from the truth. Okay, this is saying it's not true. Single study, decades old. Well, single study in the 80s, manufacturing companies in Illinois. The study is the basis for most of the facts cited by the longevity of family businesses. The researchers took a sample of companies and tried to figure out which of them were still operating during the period they studied. They then grouped the companies into 30-year blocks, roughly representing generations. Only a third of family businesses in the study made it through the second generation. Only 13% made it through the third. Three-generation myth. It's also pervasive. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy to family businesses who believe the odds of long-term success are stacked against them. That's what almost happened to one successful business family we advised. All right, so this might be it's Quora. I don't trust Quora. Versus third generation curse. Five common reasons third generation family businesses don't work. 3 examples of third generation business failure. Okay, here's a fun one. We're looking for confirmation bias here. That's what we're looking for. Andrew Carnegie credited. Oh, go away. I don't want to do any stuff. Andrew Carnegie is credited with the most infamous recorded aphorism in family business. 3 generations from shirtless to shirt sleeves refers to the commonly held belief that in the life cycle of family business empires, the third generation is where all goes wrong. It was not a loan assessment. Blah, blah, blah. Give me the examples. Steinberg, 1950s and 60s. Steinberg was a thriving grocery chain in Eastern Canada. It began in 1917 in Montreal as a corner store or couche-tard owned by Hungarian immigrants Ida Steinberg. The business grew exponentially when Sam, Ida's son, took over. Sam Steinberg is largely credited with pioneering the concept of a supermarket in Eastern Canada when he opened an all-encompassing grocery store in 1934. Under his leadership, Steinberg became the largest grocery chain in Quebec and had expanded into Ontario and Atlantic Canada. In hindsight, his biggest failing was doing nothing to prepare the next generation of family leadership. Following his death in 1978, his daughters Mitzi, Marilyn, and Evelyn fought over control of the company. In the absence of strong leadership, it began to decline. Rising labor costs and increased competition were serious threats that went largely ignored. In the 1980s, external help was brought in, but by that point it was too late. Steinberg was forced into a leveraged buyout for $1.5 billion in 1982. Well, that's still some good chunk of change, so there you go. Gucci founded the Gucci Empire in the early 1900s. Known for fashionable handbags, the Italian company got its start in luggage. When Gucci died in 1953, the business was left to his eldest son, Aldo, who internationalized it. Under his leadership, Gucci became a premier brand in fashion. Problems became apparent soon after the third generation took control. The unilateral vision that had defined the first 2 generations of leadership dissolved. Aldo's son, Paolo, and his nephew, Mauricio, who ostensibly shared control, had vastly different aspirations. Paolo launched a disastrous fashion line that hemorrhaged money in a pursuit which eventually forced him into exile. Under Maurizio's sole stewardship, the once prosperous fashion brand declined precipitously. By 1991, it had a negative net worth of $17 million, with more than $40 million in personal debt besides. Maurizio was finally forced out by Investcorp. So that's when they got taken over by a multinational conglomerate. Seagram's. At one point, Seagram's, the crown jewel of the Bronfenman family empire, was the largest owner of alcoholic beverage lines in the world. I always heard they had like the largest distillery ever. First generation, Samuel Bronfman, took advantage of the post-prohibition alcohol boom to make Seagram's household name in North America. Their 3 most popular products were 7, Crown, VO, Crown Royal. The company also was so successful that it expanded into other industries. Seagram bought the Texas Pacific Coal and Oil Company for about $276 million in 1963. The company continued to thrive under second generation Edgar Bronfman's control, which lasted a little over 2 decades. Trouble began when Edgar's son, Edgar Bronfman Jr., took over in 1994. Keen to enter the firm and entertainment industry, Edgar Jr. sold Seagram's 24.3% ownership stake in DuPont Industries to free up investment capital. That stake, however, accounted for 70% of Seagram's income. Bronfman Jr. took the proceeds and bought a controlling interest in MCA, Universal Pictures, and later acquired Polygram and Deutsche Grammophon. These interests, as much as they aligned with Edgar's dream of becoming an entertainment mogul, did little to better the family empire. Within 5 years, the family controlling interest in Seagram's was sold to Vivendi. Okay, so yeah, there's 3 examples of third generation sucking ass. And it happened with Budweiser. Third generation blew it, and InBev now owns Budweiser. And KCTB, why does it always happen that we shareholders have to give the SEC the entire proof of case of fraud with Finra others, is only way for justice. Why can't the SEC do their job? Real talk, explain. Because the SEC can't do their job. Because if they did their job at this point, they would crash the entire market, and that would be it. The SEC would get blamed for everything. So the SEC's got to pussyfoot around and make Congress make them do things, so that Congress gets blamed. And I think that's the entire role. Because their chance to do stuff about this was probably 20 years ago, and they didn't. So ever since then, they've been like, well, shit's fucked up, but if we do something about it now, it's trouble. So it's like, what would be a good example? You are the Penn State football team, and you are the coach of the Penn State football team, and you find out that your linebackers coach is molesting children and taking weird showers with them. And you're like, oh shit, this is bad. But if I lose my best linebackers coach in the country, then I don't have the best linebackers coach anymore. So you're like, well, hey man, probably shouldn't touch those kids, but I don't want to fire you. And so you don't do it. And then it comes out later when the kids become adult, like, hey, that guy touched me. Then all of a sudden, Penn State loses their football coach and their linebackers coach and everything else, and the whole program goes to shit because you didn't do the right thing at the right time. So there's an entire apparatus there to protect the crime because no one wanted to be blamed for the crime happening on their watch. And so they just went, which is the wrong thing to do, which is what SEC did for a long time, was that crimes were happening on their watch, and now they need somebody else to make them fix it. Otherwise, they're going to get the blame for the whole thing coming down. It's probably not the best analogy, but it's the best one I could think of at the time. Houston, Florida earthquake. Yeah, only with the fifth earthquake that people felt in Florida's history. 4.3 offshore. So people in Jupiter, Florida felt it. Pretty crazy. It happens. It's weird. There's a 7.0 in Charleston back in the 1800s. KCTB, is radon a scam? I have levels EPA says I should mitigate, but it's 7 of 1,000 parts per liter. Would get lung cancer if living lifetime in basement. I've heard original study was done using miners in the mine. Not a good idea. Yeah, radon, the radon that comes up from the earth into your home is quite radioactive. And if you're breathing it in, you are having lots of alpha particles burn holes in your DNA. I don't recommend that. I recommend mitigation, definitely. I would not want to be breathing radon of any kind in my home. It doesn't seem like a good idea to me. So I would mitigate that. Kevin Rand and Bo Jackson throwing out Harold Reynolds at home is probably the greatest throw I ever saw. Dude was a freak. Unless they watch the 30 for 30, kids will never know the freak of nature he was. Bo Jackson was a freak of nature, and he was just coming into his own in the baseball field, doing weird Herculean things, and he didn't want to play football. He wanted to play baseball. He was drafted multiple times by the Buccaneers and others, and he wanted to play baseball. And then finally, the owner of the Raiders was like, look, I'll sign you to a full year contract, and you play with us only when the baseball season's over. Bo's like, all right. And even then, he still put up freakish Herculean numbers for the Raiders playing part-time. The Bo Knows Bo biography is really good. This one. This is a fascinating athletic biography. I mean, the stories in here about the things Bo Jackson accomplished as a child, talks about he's 10 years old and gets challenged to jump over a 5-foot high fence and just broad jumps it flat-footed over the fence. They made a rule in his little league that he was not allowed to pitch because he was throwing 90 miles an hour at age 12. They're like, no, this kid can't pitch. Hit a 600-foot home run in his first week in the minor leagues. He's batting 500 in Division One for Auburn, in like setting NCAA records for 100 meters. Just an absolute freak of nature. And that tackle that crushed his hip, he would have been a Hall of Famer in 2 leagues, I think, if he had kept playing, because he was still young and figuring out major league pitching and starting to get a handle on it. And I think, you know, he came back from hip surgery. He played for the White Sox. He started putting up some serious numbers with the White Sox. And he's like, I'm done, and retired. And I think he could have done a lot more had he kept going. But it's a really good biography. This came out, I read this when I was like in 4th grade or something. And still stories in it stick in my mind. Oh, no, he was a freak. And like, I think, you know, a player like Yasiel Puig could have been a Bo Jackson type. He was built like Bo Jackson. He was strong like him. The problem is that he's fucked in the head, and no one wants to deal with this bullshit. So he's crazy. He's a complete psychopath. But yeah. Louis Shotland, is there disadvantages to my transferring Fidelity MMTLP shares AST if there's a settlement? I think it depends on the settlement. But I do think that if there's a settlement for more trading days, I think it will be something that's like in the future to allow us to have time to transfer back into brokerages and blah, 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 blah. I think that's what the settlement would be. And it'd be forced closure of positions. It'd probably be forced closure of positions that only those who had the original shares when there was 165 million of them before they offered more to insiders, only those folks would be able to sell, etc. I do think it's very likely that there's some sort of cash settlement. It's like, all right, well, we'll charge you $500 a share for the 165 million shares, and you give it to the company, and the company will just turn around and do a special dividend, which will then cause all the shorts to have to pay a special dividend as well, which will just fuck them all over to begin with. Something like that. Something along those lines seems logical to me. But I do think there'll be time to figure out one way or the other. KCTB, voting law in Georgia makes it illegal to give water and food to people waiting in line to vote. Curb Your Enthusiasm did a joke about it on the last episode. How is that legal allowed law? Rant, please. I mean, the idea is if you give water or food to people in line waiting to vote, that you could possibly be like, hey, this is from the so-and-so campaign, and then you're seen as bribing people to vote for you. In reality, what it is Georgia Republican governor, when he was Secretary of State, closed a whole host of voting precincts so that lines got really, really long. And the idea was you dissuade people from voting if they got to wait in line for a long time. So if you make the line 3 hours long, they got to get to work, they're not going to vote. So boom, you just cleared a whole bunch of potential voters for your because like, let's face it, Republicans, their largest force are retired people. And they can wait in line all day long. They don't care. So if you're a blue collar working person, you got to get to work and you can't stand in line for 8 hours. Well, sweet, we got rid of your vote, and that's the real reason behind it. They're gonna say it's because there could be undue influence for people, but the reality is, they want to make sure that you don't vote. So yeah, doesn't need to be too long of a rant, but there was that. KCTB, like this video, Houstonians. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, tell your neighbors. KCTB also, FYI, lots of local businesses I work with are pausing advertising, citing bad economy. My banker said that they have to tighten lending. No startup loans, no restaurants, way more volatile for advertising companies right now. Yep. And look at big players like Google and Facebook, whose entire income comes from ads. What are they going to do to keep the ad revenue rolling, right? And Twitter doesn't have any ads anymore because no one wants to buy them. So, yeah. Barry McCockiner. MMTLP is getting close to the end zone. I agree. Huddle New Zealand. If there's a BBY payout, I'm buying a ton of IEP shares and GME options. That's probably where I'm leaning to as well. Batbones. If Istanbul is Constantinople, but Istanbul is no longer Constantinople, then it is Istanbul. Then is Istanbul is really Constantinople. Why did Constantinople get the works? And why is anybody's business but the Turks? You have to ask Turkish. She's in our chat right now. Fatal Wraith. Knowles. If BBY has $10 billion in Knowles and there's like 78 DK Butterfly subsidiary corporations, imagine all the Knowles that they have. Blockbuster, Sears, Red Q, Toys R Us, etc. Yep. Hold on, Knowles. Fatal Wraith. BBY is going to sell 1 million shares into the squeeze for an easy many billions to acquire even more too. Exactly. They've got 901 million shares authorized. They'd be like, oh, well, we're going to make a plan. We're going to sell, maybe 10 million at market when we get the chance, which will pale in comparison to what everyone owns. It won't make a dent into a squeeze. But, they can do exactly what Ryan Cohen did to get GameStop out of debt. Stock price at $40. You announce, we might sell some shares. Stock price jumps to $350. They're going to sell a few shares here and there. And then drops back down to 110. You wait, drops back up, jumps up to 350, sell a few more shares. And all of a sudden, they have no more debt. And they don't have to worry about going bankrupt or defaulting, which is what everyone was planning on. You paid it all off. You're good. You're now a profitable company, pretty much no matter what you do. So I wouldn't doubt they use that exact same thing. Whereas AMC gets a little price action, and rather than sell a few shares here and there, they sell like 45 million of them all at one time. And the price goes blunk, right back down again. Learn to be patient, you dorks. You're killing the price action every single time. So everybody who's stuck in AMC is just drowning right now. Oh well. Bill Coyne, the article distressed that low wages are a problem. Yes. Don't be a degen. Minimum wage in New Zealand is $23 an hour, but everything expensive, so it sucks. Well, you're on an island. Hawaii, everything was expensive too. Wages were terrible, but at least your businesses had to give everybody health care there. When is a booming economy not a booming economy? Thomas Dubois, made it Houston. I'll have to soak in your replay later. Excellent. Thomas Dubois, I think I know why Monkey's whining. Gotta take Gary Kinsler. Dragon, would Time Machine Houston go back in time, test the grandfather paradox? Ew, no. Any Picoin news? Nothing that I saw recently. What is Picoin? What's that right now? $31 still. I still have not been able to get my Picoins into the mainnet. It's been like a year. I've been waiting for them to allow me to put in the mainnet, and I have not been able to. So, but $31, still a healthy chunk of change I would love to have my hands on. But yeah, I've been waiting. Let's see. What's it say for my mainnetness on Le Pi? Back Pi. Okay. We're gonna click on mainnet info. Okay. Oh, did they actually migrate some? Did it finally happen? I've been complaining about it not happening. It's finally in there. I got to go with the Pi browser. Okay. Pi browser. Yeah. Next. Emulator. Inside Pi, I can use this account. Why can't I use my phrases anymore? What the fuck is going on? All right. Well, it looks like they actually finally migrated half of what I had. So they migrated. Mining rates at 14.7, base rate. How do I get back to mainnet info? So it looks like they migrated 2,600 of them. and I have 2,600 unverified. So if you are on my Pi thing, get verified, man. Go through that, and because I would love to be able to have that. Because right now there's 5,300 and whatever Pi. At $30 a Pi, I have over $150,000 of Pi. So by all means, I think I have a link in the description. You can join the Pi network and mine. Please do, because the more people who join the network and mine with me, the more I get, and I'm happy about that. And then get yourselves verified so that I can transfer my shit to the Pi net, and then I can get out of the Pi net, and then I can sell it, and I can get a truck. So let's do that. $31.16. Was that 36 a couple months ago? It's been as high as like 200 and something. So let's look at all time. Yeah, so when the first one snuck out in January, it was $240.91. Recent spike in September hit $57. And we had a little spike at 41 in October, and it was like 36. This is about when I was realizing that people were trading Pi on some sort of network. So $35, $31 right now. So it's been pretty steady. I would gladly get my coins onto this network and get the hell out and get some cash. Maybe supposedly you're not allowed to get it out, but some people have been figuring out ways to get to like migrate it into Binance and others. I mean, heck, I mine about, I don't know, 2 Pi a day, probably. So I've been mining it for a couple of years now. I'm at 5,000 and whatever. So I would gladly get this and check out, take my 50K and do something else with it. Peace. Yeah, something to do. Hindenburg's on wheels. Talk about the hydrogen cars. Well, the cool thing about hydrogen, so the one thing they can do with hydrogen cars is you don't put a pressurized tank in there. They have these weird solid tanks that are actually perforated like a sponge, and they like ionize the tank, so all the hydrogen fills it, and it bonds to the walls of the tank, so that if there's a crack, the hydrogen just sits there, and that's it. It's something that GM invented when they created their first hydrogen car about 20 years ago, and so that's, you know, there's this safe way to put hydrogen in the cars. And there's also cars that supposedly you have a battery bank. And the battery bank gets the hydrogen, the water start to do the hydrolysis. So you put water in the car, it does hydrolysis with the battery bank, and then pumps the hydrogen back in through a combustion engine or even a fuel cell, and then that combines it back into water. I don't know, it's weird things like that. We'll see where it goes. KCTB, did you hear that SBF started by front-running Ethereum across foreign markets? How is that not a red flag? How did Bitcoin not have any ramifications from him and nothing changed at all? Because there's no regulation. They were doing whatever they wanted in a sphere of the economy in the markets that's completely unregulated. So they could do whatever they want. Where the problem came from was the theft. There's laws against theft. So that's basically where all the problems came in for SBF and everyone else. They just stole everybody's money, claiming that they still had it and it was gone. False flags, love your shows. Houston, always been here lurking since day one. Haven't missed an episode. I see you pop every once in a while, false flags. You're not always lurking. Kevin Griffin is a couche-tard. Gary Del Vecchio. Old game, Republicans win when you don't vote. Democrats win when you do. That's kind of true. Sincere 206, Houston. Why aren't any car manufacturers working with GMGF yet? Seems like a no-brainer. I wouldn't doubt if there are some, but they might be held under NDAs at the moment. I bet there are some who are looking at them and possibly doing some research with them at the moment. I am starting to get really hungry all of a sudden, and I've met 2-hour mark. We'll do a couple more. I'm almost to the bottom. I'm so close. I'll try to get through these. Happy Joe Kane Day tomorrow. Joe Kane Day? Joe Kane. Joe Kane Day in Mobile, Alabama, Sunday before Mardi Gras. Joseph Stillwell Kane, larger creator of initiating the modern way of observing Mardi Gras celebrations in Mobile, Alabama, following the Civil War. I never knew that. I never knew who Joe Kane was. I never knew about Joe Kane Day. So, thank you. I just learned something new. Born 1832, died 1904 in Bayou La Batre, Alabama. All right. Read more about Joe Kane. Happy Joe Kane Day. Get a Vecchio Bitcoin is on fire, and this move up will last at least till the election. Did Tether print some more? Whole NZ is GPU mining. Is it GPU mining? GPU mining, and how much would I get on a gaming machine running 12 hours a day? Oh, are you talking about Pi? Pi literally, it has to do with time and how many people are in your network. So the more people in your network, the more coins you unlock. And it's just a period of time. Like how much time you are mining and how many people are in your network mining at the same time, you get more coins. So you don't need any GPUs, it's literally just your cell phone. It's a completely different way. It's not a math intensive or power intensive. It's literally how many people have joined the network and how many people are in your personal network. That's how it works. So there should be a link, I think, in the description. Download the app, click the link. You'll get a Pi. I'll get a Pi out of you joining. $30, why not? Right now in the main net, people can barter with the Pis. Like, hey, I want a PlayStation 5. How many Pis would it take? Who wants to sell me a PlayStation 5? And you can like barter and buy things that way. And then they're going to open the mainnet up to, in like 2 years, to the actual exchanges, I think. But people have figured out ways to sneak the coins out of the mainnet and get them onto exchanges, doing these weird pipeline things. Like, I haven't quite figured out how to do it myself. I read about it a whole bunch, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. But yeah, so coins have been leaving the mainnet and all of a sudden trading on things like Binance. And the mainnet people are like, oh, I'm so angry. But like, if I can get $150,000, I don't give a shit if you're angry. DJ Bitcoin mining is ASIC machines only, specialized chips in computing secure hash algo computations. SHA-256. GPU mining would have worked up to 2015 when the global hash rate was low for Bitcoin. That's what I was mining Bitcoin on GPUs prior to that. You will pay more on electricity to mine Bitcoin on GPU than you get Bitcoin. There aren't many altcoins left you can mine on GPUs since everyone and their mother who were mining ETH before POW are mining all the shitcoin altcoins. GPU mining for ETH was the shiz before it became proof of stake, where you get ETH by staking 32 to stake your own and 32 on a staking pool. All right, everyone knows now. And yeah, get a Vicky. Why are you anti-Bitcoin? It's not that I'm anti-Bitcoin. It's that I'm anti-Tether. Tether is a complete crime and has falsely created a bubble around Bitcoin. So 55% of all Bitcoin is purchased using Tether, and Tether is a giant scam that doesn't have any money behind it. And someday, Tether is going to implode. And when it does, it's going to take down every coin with it down to something significantly lower than what it is trading for now. And that's my problem, is that there's no good regulation. There's so many scams. All these exchanges and stuff are all run by fucking criminals because they can, because there's no regulations for them. And yeah, it's the Wild West, dude. It's the Wild West. All right, I'm hungry. I need to go eat my steak now. It's 8 o'clock. Eat my steak, snuggle with the cat and dog, and watch some Star Trek. I completed my rewatch of Next Gen, and now I am going through Deep Space Nine, which I never saw all fully Deep Space Nine. So far, Deep Space Nine, I understand what they're doing. Like, it's an old Cardassian base. It's got its own like special design and everything. But visually, it's very unappealing, I have to say. It's a visually unappealing set structure. And I hope they fix that soon, because my eyes don't like looking at it. Anyway, I'll catch you guys on Monday, and have a great rest of your weekend. All right, cool. Let's do Jumping Burger.
Houston, we have a problem.
Voyager for life. Voyager is the best, I think. Okay,